um, Senior Planet is free and
Yeah.
it is through AARP and you don't even have to be a member. And,
Right.
I'm not even a senior yet and I can get on there and do the classes. So,
Right.
I mean, when can we, uh, just call free and easy and for everyone and just such a great resource. You can get on
Oh,
there and learn how to speak Spanish. I mean, there's all kinds of classes on Senior Planet.
oh yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, today is our last class. Um, Miss Kathy going to join us or is she with you?
She said that she's going to join.
Okay, very good. Well, I'll watch out for her.
Okay.
Today is our last class of the series, and but no fret. A new class starts January the 7th. Same times. However, you signed up for this, assuming you signed up with Samantha, that's how you would sign up again. Um, but that's the intention is January 7th, the same times and the same rule of if you need to go from class to class, uh, let Samantha know and she can make sure that you have access to both classes in on your tablet or if you have the links. Um, if you come through on a computer, not a tablet, then you would need the links, of course. But you're welcome to come to either. I'm trying to get a bingo size set up with one of my senior centers. And as soon as I get that set up, then I'm going to figure out how I can do another advanced class. And if you want to do all the classes, um, the Tuesday class and whatever class we have on the other. Last time I did it on Friday morning, it was like from 9 until 10. And so that advanced class will include things that we do in this beginner class, but we dive into it a little differently. Um, it's not a class, it's just kind of a class that was born of people. Gwen, you've done the class and you don't have to speak to it. I mean, unless you just want to, but it was born from people who had taken this class multiple times and wanted to kind of push themselves because when this restarts in January, we will go back to the very beginning of learning commencement and that taking us, a whole class to just go over a commencement. It may, when the beginning, when we start with the warm ups, it may take us a couple of weeks to really get more comfortable with the warm ups. And if you've taken that class multiple times, you have that moment where you're like, okay, I know it. Let's move on. Let's get to that part where we're really diving into our advanced movements. That's where that advanced classes is. And, we may dive into diaphragmatic breathing or one of the classes in the advanced class was about our vagus nerve. Like, you just never know what we're going to talk about. It's just a more in-depth class in terms of Tai Chi. So I just sort of made it up as I went along. There was no Jennifer was trained in it. I just based on my experience, we just went with it. And that was what the people want. And when the people want something, I try to make it happen.
Well, Jennifer, you did a great job with that class.
Thank
And I was so happy to advance into more movements. And it just got me excited to start that over again. So I'll be happy when we can go into the advance
yeah,
again.
because didn't we even start the part two movement? My memory
Yeah,
started. Okay, because
yeah.
right now I have an in-person class that they have just about I'll say this mastered but that's never really our goal. But they have got part two movements. And so
Wow.
that's really exciting to go into it. I've learned a lot as an instructor, as I do every time I teach. I learn a little bit more. And in our advanced movements, what we do in terms of pivoting on our feet is in brush knee, where we pivot that or turn that toe in as we turn. And in our part 2, we do more pivots on our feet. And so I found that I was kind of caught up in the pivots. And then what I realized is we have to remember that in Tai Chi, there's always room for modification. And so if you don't feel safe doing a certain move or comfortable doing a certain move, then there's always room for modifications. And I learned that big time teaching pivots, because I think people were felt really uncomfortable and unsteady. And so I always want to remind you, there's always room for modifications. If you don't know how to modify it yourself, ask me, and I'll either already know something or we can figure it out together. Sometimes it's just a matter of kind of a shuffle. So even with our brush knee movement, you know, the movement says shift, right toe in, you know, prepare, then step. But if you're not able to do all that, you may just shift weight and kind of shuffle your way over here to get there. And so that can be where you start. So there is a place in Tai Chi for every single person. And I like to do my best to make that happen. All right, that's enough of all that yapping.
I look forward to repeating the class, Jennifer.
Good. Well, I hate it didn't work out this time, but you know, I just can't do everything, and sometimes I just have to face the facts. I'm notorious for saying, what else can I do? How can I make it happen? And I usually do, but sometimes
Well, I've enjoyed. It's just that I think that I can enhance what I have learned.
yeah, and keep earning those t-shirts.
Yeah.
I'm glad I can offer t-shirts and now sweatshirts for the people who keep going. All right, let's start our warm-up, starting with our neck. But it's good stuff. It just is a feel-good class to slow down. And I have felt my body be so much stronger as I focus on upright posture, as weight transfer slowly to one leg, and just generally slowing down the movements helps strengthen our muscles just in a different way. Then even if we were to lift weights, you know, that's one kind of strength, but being able to have control over our bodies that's a different strength to have, and that's what we're going for in terms of preventing falls. We may be the strongest person ever, but not have good balance because we don't have control over our muscles. This right here feels good. And so does the sight of sunshine, y'all. I don't know what y'all's weather was like yesterday, but it was so gray and gloomy all day here.
It still is here.
Well, maybe the sunshine will come out where you are. It's out in Baxley. If not, just drive over to Baxley. Roll our shoulders. And y'all let me know if these baggy breeches are keeping y'all from seeing what I'm doing. I'll tuck them into my socks. It might not be the most fashionable move, but
I love the breeches. I love them.
Don't forget to breathe, as I just caught myself holding my breath. It's usually when I remind you to breathe, is when I've caught myself for our spine. Side to side. Do your best to engage your stomach muscles here, all your core muscles. I feel my back muscles, the sides, my sides, which are your obliques, and then my abs just tighten as I go from side to side. Now for our hips, shifting our weight to one leg, heel forward, hands back. So this is where we are especially challenged as we have weight on one leg. Other leg. And then shifting side to side, keep an upright posture and not leaning. Remember, you can always use a chair if this is a challenge. But being able to shift weight and hold weight on one leg really is falls under that principle of weight transfer and so important in getting our muscles strong. Another alternative is to not lift the other foot and tap it out, because that is a challenge. But if you just were to shift the weight and not tap out, that's a start. For our knees, more weight shifting, tap and punch. Again, there's that cross lateral we talked about last week. Opposite sides of our body moving at the same time is so good for our brains. And that's why sometimes we're so challenged by this, because our brain is working. It's not just our body's working. Let's step out. Here we have a weight shift forward. Keep both feet flat on the floor as you shift that weight. And a key to that movement that I haven't talked about in a while is not to let your knee extend past your toe. So I know we're generally in a mindset where bigger is better or more is better. So sometimes we just like, oh, we're really going to lean into it, but that can be harmful for your knee. So just a weight shift forward, keeping that upright posture, but don't extend that knee past your toe. All right, for our ankles, shift the weight and then heel toe. Rocking those ankles, or rocking that foot, stretching those ankles, working on the mobility of those ankles and flexibility, reducing any tension. And then side to side, or big toe, little toe. So some days you may have really stiff ankles, and this can help with that. All right. Nice little shake. Miss Gwen, this morning when I got up, I just said, I'm cutting that Tai Chi sweatshirt off. So I put it on, and because I had wore a brown one last week, and
Uh-huh.
I had to basically tuck it way under so that it was shorter, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
this morning I put it on and I judged, you know, kind of where how long I wanted it or how short I wanted it. And I took
Uh-huh.
the scissors and just made a little notch and then took
Uh-huh.
it off and just cut it across the top. And I love how it fit
Oh, wow.
because it was it was loose.
Uh-huh.
It didn't have that band on it. I kept the sleeves, but anyway, I just cut it off, and I think
Oh,
I'm
wow.
happier with it because the
I
other
would love to
I
see
wore
it.
that when I wore that brown one, I'm like, there is too much bottom on this shirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Depending on how high-waisted your pants are, of course, and unless you want a belly shirt. But I wanted to let you know I cut it off, and I'm much happier with it.
Well, in the next class, I'm hoping to see it.
Okay, well, I would go get it. It's in my car, but anyway, I'll maybe when the class is over, if you want to stay on, I'll run down there and get it out of my car and show you because it really did. It really made it much nicer of a feel to it. It didn't feel just all this material.
Okay. Well, yeah, I would love to see it. I would
Okay,
love to see it. All right.
all right. So, um, here we go. Part one. Reviewing our principles: movement control, slow, smooth, and continuous, and gentle resistance. And that's where we kind of moving against force that's not really there. Using muscles that we don't necessarily have to use to move. And that helps engage muscle. And when our muscles engage, it helps them get stronger. The principle of body structure, just that upright posture, and be aware of that all the time, not just in Tai Chi class, to have our shoulders back and relaxed and just walking upright. Even when we do weight transfer, we're conscious of being upright. We're not leaning. Once you start leaning, you're going towards falling. Under body structure also is weight transfer. Being mindful of shifting weight just right over top of that leg so that whenever you lift that other foot or you step with the other foot, then your weight is centered over your knee. If you don't have that weight centered, it can hurt your knee. And so just being mindful of completely shifting that weight and have it over top of that leg so that whenever you move the other, then you're more stable in that stance. And then internally, our principles are song or open joints. That's where we keep the soft bend. We don't lock our elbows, lock our knees. Even in our armpits, we leave little bit of space for our armpit to breathe. That's an open joint. And then Jing, which is mental quietness. And it's just that nice and relaxed feeling that we get when we can truly just give in to the movements and just relax into them. And that happens once you learn it really well. Because before, your mind is kind of consumed of what's next, what's next. A way that can help you with that is to make yourself posters or papers that have the notes. You know, I've told you about the waving hands in clouds is always in front of me. It's right here behind me. But you can even have a list of what comes next or which direction, that particular movement goes in. Anything that can be your brain and you just look and you know what to do, that can help with mental quietness and have that internal experience of Tai Chi. So those are our principles. We follow our principles no matter what we're doing. Warm-ups in the actual movements, and a lot of the principles bleed over into us moving through life, and that we just have kind of a Tai Chi spirit about us whenever it becomes who we are. Because it's how we move and how we hold ourselves that helps us be more stable. So always keep those things in mind as we do our movement. So here we go from the top of part 1. And commence. Open, close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Open, close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Open, close. Basic 6. Let's do it again. And commence. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Remember, we count to 6 here. Open, close, and close it out. So y'all feel good about those movements. Remember, those are what Dr. Lamb calls seated Tai Chi. Those are the first 6 movements that he does when he calls it seated Tai Chi. So if you ever want to do something a little different, do those seated in terms of your legs, pushing those feet into the floor to engage muscle as you go through those same movements. Advanced 6. Remember, we go to the left first and do all the things, and then we go to the right, starting with brush knee. And remember, this is the one I was talking about at the beginning of class where we pivot on that heel. We turn that toe in with that heel still on the floor. And so that's our introduction to, if we're going to learn the part 2 movements, how to shift weight, but still keep a little on the other foot for that pivot. And that helps us make the turn, that 90-degree turn, getting that foot in a more, in a direction that makes more sense once we're over here. So it's shift left, right toe in, shift right, bring that left toe back, step left, shift, and follow step right. The whole time keeping that body upright. Hands, shift left. When we took the right toe in, we reach out with our right hand and our left hand comes over and protects our elbow. Shift left. Bring that left foot, left hand back. I call that separate and prepare. Step left. Bring this right around, whatever range of motion you have in your shoulder and your elbow and even your back. Shift as I push and follow step right. That is our brush knee movement. Remember, the brush knee comes from this right here, right there, where I bring that, well, I call it separate and prepare, as if someone was attacking my leg, and I'm pushing them out the way. So it's not as obvious unless you just bring it out and say, that's what's going on here. Brush it out the way, because I don't really focus on that. It's bringing it back to my hip. But that's where the name comes from, just the same. So brush knee, shift, right toe in and reach. Shift right, left foot left, or separate and prepare, left hand, left foot back. Step left, bring this right hand around, keeping that upright posture as we shift and push and follow step right. So that whole time we kept upright posture, which that's a challenge for me because I want to push and really go with it. You know, if this is the fight we're not really having, if you were really pushing somebody, then you're going to be all in. So there's that inclination to want to go with it, but remember to keep that upright posture. Again, brush knee, shift, right toe in, reach, shift, separate, prepare, step left, bring this right hand around, shift as I push and follow step. Play the lute, step back right, turn hands, shift as they pass, and when I get to that elbow, follow step left. Parry punch, step left, flip our hands, shift as they parry. Step right, flip, shift as they parry. Step left, I get my flowers, I put up my guard, shift as I deliver, and follow step. Block and close. Step back right, release hands, shift as they come back down to my hips, follow step left, push the tiger. Step left, push those hands, remain upright. Remember, it's an extension of the hands. Follow step right, now to the front. Step, shift and step, hands face for open and close. So to the front isn't a movement. I just find it necessary to say for direction reasons, like let's go from here to the front and finish it out with open and close. Same moves to the right. So everything's just opposite. We shift right, left toe in and reach. Shift left, separate, prepare. Step right, bring this left arm around. Shift as I push, follow step left. Play the lute. Step back, turn hands. Shift as they pass, follow step right. Parry punch. Step right and flip. Shift and parry. Step left and flip. Shift and parry. Step right, guard, get the flowers. Shift as I deliver. Follow step left. Block and close. Step back left, release hands. Shift as they come to my hips. Follow step right. Push the tiger. Step right, push, and Follow step left to the front. Step, shift, and step. Hands face, open and close. Close it out. I know that's a lot of talking, but that is all the things that are happening. So let's try to do it this time, just calling out the names of the movements. Oh, I can start over here. So first movement, brush knee. Play the loop. Hairy punch. Block and close. Push the tiger. Open, close. Brush knee. Play the loop. Hairy punch. Block and close. Push the tiger. Open, close. So I just did something that I was like, that is not right. But I was distracted because I was so close to that wall. But on push the tiger, I felt myself kind of dipping and coming up. And that's not the move. Keep it in mind, even though we're not really fighting, it is based in that martial art. And so when we did block and close, I came down here by my hips. And when you do push the tiger, it's a gradual push up and out. So I felt myself kind of dipping down and up. And so I just want to clarify that it is push the tiger up the mountain is the whole name of that movement. So it's a gradual push up and out and not a dip. I know we talked about how it is nicer to practice these movements without kind of slowing them down. It kind of gets you in this weird position and you don't get the opportunity to practice that smooth and continuous of the movement. So let's just practice it several times. Just our advanced movements, and then we'll put the all of them together for part one. Starting with open close and brush knee. Play the loop. Hairy punch. Block and close. Push the tiger. Open, close. Oh gosh, wind got put out. Open, close. All right. To the, whatever the way we're going, to the right. Play the loop. Hairy punch. Lock and close. Push the tiger. Open and close it out. One thing that is my friend when it comes to these movements is keeping that soft bend in our knee. Whenever we have a soft bend, we're kind of squatted down, but just barely squatted down, then we're more stable in that movement. And so having those soft bend knees helps me feel more stable. So make sure you're not locking your knees, that you have that soft bend. All right, here we go. Again, brush knee. Play the loop. Hairy punch. Block and close. Push the tiger. To the front. Open, close. Brush knee. Play the loop. Hairy punch. Block and close. Push the tiger. To the front. Open, close. So as you learn these movements and you're better and better at them, remember just all those little pieces and parts that you can add to make it more. And so, for instance, if you have that ability to really reach back for that, the end of that brush knee, if you have the range of motion to come back. So not only are you pushing that shoulder joint and elbow more, but here you see my torso, how I'm turning with it and then coming forward. So my torso went back, or went to the side as my shoulder went back, or my arm went back. I don't think I know my body parts. I need to study my anatomy book. And then come and push. And that whole time I was engaging all of these muscles here on the sides, in my back, and in the front. Did I have to do that? No. I could very easily just come and then push. So like my torso never moved just then, but you can make the movement more by adding that movement and engaging these muscles. And so that's what we talk about when I say we'll have an advanced class that really explains different ways to make it more. It's not just about learning the movements, but how to make the most of the movements. All right, one more time, just our advanced, and then we'll put all of our part one together. I wish I could play the music, but YouTube mutes out music. I don't know what that is, but I've tried it before and it just mutes it out. All right. Advanced 6, starting to the left, brush knee. Play the loop. Hairy punch. Lock and close. Push the tiger. Open, close. Brush knee. Play the loop. Carry punch. Lock and close. Push the tiger. Open, close. Close it out. Y'all know I'm from Kentucky, so when you hear me say "oh," that's a Kentucky "oh." If every time I say close it out, I'm like, that's my Kentucky accent. That's when it comes out, is when I say "oh." All right, that's a side note. From the top, and remember, whenever we get done with the basic 6, I have to go from here over here because then we have to go that way. So you don't have to do that, but that's what I'm doing, is staying in camera and staying in my little small space. All right, here we go. From the top, all of part 1, beginning with commencement. Ready and begin. Open, close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Open, close. Single whip. Advance 6. Brush knee. Play the loop. Carry punch. Lock and close. Push the tiger. Open, close. Brush knee. Play the loop. Carry punch. Lock and close. Push the tiger. Open, close. Hopefully you're feeling it get shorter and shorter, and that's because you know it. In the beginning, it feels like a lot of things. And so now, as you learn it, it feels like it gets shorter. But let's do it again. I mean, because the only way we get better is through practice. Y'all let me know if there are any certain moves you need some clarifications on, or if it's a move you just want to explore a little bit more. I'm happy to do that. But I just know practice is the way we get better. So we're just here to practice from the beginning all the way through and commence. Open, close. Single whip. Waving hands. Open, close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Hopefully you are counting. Here's 4, 5, and 6. Open, close. Advance 6, brush knee. Play the loop. Carry punch. Lock and close. Push the tiger. Open, close. Brush knee. Play the loop. Carry punch. Lock and close. Push the tiger. Close it out. So another reminder, as we do such as extend our arms, whether it be push the tiger or any of our moves, we don't fully extend our arm. We never lock our elbow joints, and that's part of that open joint, that internal song joint. All right, again, see, keeping a check on our time. And commence. Open, close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds.
This is 3, right?
There's 4. Yep.
Okay, cool. Okay.
5. When you go, okay, here's 6. Open, close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Open, close, and close it out. So before we move on to our advanced 6, let me talk about that waving hands in clouds and the 6 steps. Now, the first time we do waving hands in clouds, we are going to our right. And
Okay.
so just say, I call where I start from center. And so when I do that first step and turn, I'm moving away from where I was coming from, away from center. Okay. So the even number, 2, 4, and 6, are going to go towards center or towards where I came from. And so always, if you don't know if you're on 4, 6, 8, 10, I mean, maybe you don't go all the way to 12, but you know the last turn goes in the direction of where you're coming from. Because you know when you're doing waving hands and clouds, you're Tai Chi walking to the right the first time you do it. So right is the direction we're going. Left is where we came from. So the even number always goes in the direction of where we came from.
Okay.
And so that 6 is always towards center or towards center, depending on where you came from. I just always think of where I came from as center. Here's my center. I'm going away from it. I come, and now I go this way away from where I came from, center. I don't think that center is the right thing to call it, but that's just what I've always thought of in my head, is where I came from was center, and I'm moving away from it.
Center is how I feel about it. I feel it's my center.
Okay, well,
Start
good.
from the center.
And it's not just me, because we're not in the center. But it's where I came from, the center, my starting point. And I'm moving away from it, and that final turn is in that direction of where I came from every time in waving hands and clouds. Okay, so let's go back to our first single whip. So we've just done commencement, open, and close. Our first single whip, and we're going to the right. Single whip, just to review that 6 steps. So we have 1, there's that step, turn, we can count on the turn, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Open, close. Now the other direction. So you can count when you step or when you turn, but we know a turn follows a step. So whichever one, 1, 2, but if we're talking going towards center, then the turn makes the most sense as to when to count. There's 4, 5, and 6. Open, close. Now our advanced 6, brush knee. Play the loop. Carry punch. Lock and close. Push the tiger. Open, close. Brush knee. Play the loop. Parry punch. Lock and close. Push the tiger. I did it again. I did that little dip. Open, close. Close it out. It's not so bad when you do something wrong. It's whenever you do wrong and you're just oblivious to it. And that's probably true in life too, right? We catch ourselves doing something wrong and we fix it. We catch it because we know it's not right. And that is good in itself. So whether it be if you catch yourself holding tension in your shoulders, if you catch yourself leaning into a weight shift, if you catch yourself doing that dip, I don't know what has started that dip thing. You catch yourself doing it and you know it's wrong. That's like stars next to your name, because that means you know it that well to know when you did it wrong. So props to knowing it, learning it, catching it, and fixing it, right? All right, let's give ourselves a little fist massage, and then we'll finish this. And Linda and Kathy, if y'all want to see my sweatshirt, I'm going to get my sweatshirt to show y'all how I cropped it. I will let y'all know that I did it to my t-shirt as well. So I cropped my t-shirt shorter. I did one of them where I left the sides long and it's cropped short in the front and the back. I did that on one of my shirts, and then just cropped another one short. I don't like all that fabric. I'm not trying to show my belly. I just don't like all that fabric. Create tension and let it go. And I know you can always tuck it in, but you're still having to deal with fabric. And y'all know the trend now is like raw edges. So
Yes.
it gives permission to just cut your clothes.
No hems.
Oh, inhale and exhale. Big shoulder circle. Good one to practice that breath. One more. We have our right fist representing our strength, our left fingers together representing our friendship, our thumb in, our humility, and we put those together in mutual respect. We say, namaste. We did it, y'all. 16 weeks.
Thank you so much. I have enjoyed it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see each other very soon.
I hope so. I'm looking forward to it.
January 7th is only in what? 1, 2, 3.
About 3 weeks,
Yeah.
3-4 weeks.
Yeah, the 4th week from today. We'll be so busy with gatherings and celebrations that a month will fly by.
Yeah, sure will.
Okay. All right, Linda, Kathy, are y'all sticking around?
No, I'm gonna go on.
Okay. All right. Well,
I'm gonna wait until I get my shirt.
Okay. You have your shirt, don't you?
No, I'm talking about my sweatshirt.
Oh, your sweatshirt. Okay. Don't get me messed up, because I have my post office receipt right here.
You did fine. You did fine.
To make sure it got there.
I actually meant to wear it today and I forgot.
That's okay. All right. Well, I'll see you in January.
All right.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Christmas.
All right.
All right, Gwen, I'll be right back. Let me go.
Okay.
All right, quick.
Talk to you later, Gwen.
All right. Have a nice holiday, Linda.
You too. All right, Kat. See you after a while.
All right, straight from my car. Oh, Linda came back.
I'm here.
Okay. So what I did was I put my sweatshirt on, and then I just put where I wanted it cut, and I took the scissors and just notched it.
Uh-huh.
Took it off and laid it in the floor, and just cut it across.
Wow, that's great.
So you see, it's at a good length.
Yeah, it is.
And then the back, you can still see it. And it's sort
Yeah,
of, it's just baggy in that area.
right.
But
I
it's,
like it. I like that.
so there's your option. But
Okay.
I think I cut off about that much. That shirt
Yeah.
is stupid
I,
long.
yeah, I might cut off a little bit more than that.
Now, I know that one of my seniors, she reattached her cuff. She cut it off and then sewed it back on.
Uh-huh.
Did that to the bottom and she did it to her sleeves.
Oh, wow.
Now, I may end up reattaching my cuff on my
Yeah.
sleeves, like cut my sleeves a little bit shorter and
Yeah.
reattaching them. I'm not real worried about that right now, but that bottom was driving me nuts. But I don't think I'm going to reattach the band because I kind of like it just kind of
Yeah. That looks good like that.
loose like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it may like ravel just a little bit
Mm-hmm.
when I wash it, but it's not going to like come out.
No.
Not going to
No.
ravel apart. So anywho, there we go.
All righty. I appreciate you showing it to me.
It's my pleasure, but I hope
All
you
right.
have a wonderful Christmas
Thank you.
and
You too.
just everybody behaves and just acts right.
Oh, yeah. For sure. For sure.
People can be so peoply.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, we just pray for them.
That's right. But if
Yeah.
I don't talk to you or see you before, I will see you in January.
See you in January.
Okay. All right.
Happy
Love you, Miss
holidays.
Gwen.
Love you,
All right.
Jennifer.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.